Hi, this is Chef Tracy. Thank you so much for joining me today for the class. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope these notes that I give you on a video will also help. So we did healthy Southern dishes. We'd use pork, but you're welcome to use chicken at any time. I like to use chicken from time to time anyways because any leftovers, I get tired of eating chicken. I'll make a chicken tortilla soup instead. And with this, and actually I did a class the other day with chicken tortilla soup and a pork as the main dish. So when you have something as a main dish, try not to have the double. Like, don't have a chicken rosemary and then chicken tortilla soup as well. Do like a tomato basil with a rosemary chicken, okay? Especially if someone is maybe allergic to shellfish or what have you. That's a good, tomato basil is a great one to use instead. I'll give you a couple of those recipes for alternatives. Also, I'm going to give you my Italian bread recipe. It's absolutely delicious. The mushroom caviar. Remember in the class I talked about zinc and selenium and magnesium, and it's really a very powerful vegetable. And so the mushroom is excellent for immunity. So you want to make sure that you dry your mushrooms out before using them in any dish, especially in this type of dish, so they're not squishy. You don't want to put butter on the outside. It's not going to make them brown. It's not going to do anything, but the mushroom will absorb the fat. It'll absorb the liquid. So you use them wet, they're going to cook with that steaming water, and they're going to make them squishy and not very tasteful. So we want them firm on the outside, and for the filling we want it soft on the inside, like a truffle, right? And so we have our cheeses and fun things like that. Now you can use an egg, but in class we're using chickpea, which is, a can of chickpeas is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. You can get organic or what have you. You separate the juice from the chickpea. That's the juice is the aquifer or the egg white, and the egg yolk is the chickpeas themselves. So we have that, right? The Cajun soup, to enhance the heat, you'll want to first bloom the spices. So you have the crushed red pepper, and the garlic actually is spicy when you cook it at the right times. But if you don't want it spicy, then you cook it in when you add the tomato juice. So it dubs down. It won't bloom those spices. They'll still enhance the dish with the aromas, but it won't, bloom those spices, which happens in that chemical change. Depending on when you add that spice to the dish does make a difference. So some recipes, actually it's good to add spices throughout the cooking process, not just one time. So some dishes you will add the spices. So it does matter. It does matter. So those are little quick tips on how to change the flavor of your dish by when to add the spices. So we have our roasted vegetables that we roasted today. I'm using these because they're kind of like a warm, fuzzy note. We did the potatoes, which are very rich in B vitamins. Now, if you use purple potatoes, there's less starch to them, where they're not going to be soft like the starchy potatoes, like the Yukon or a yellow potato, whereas the purple potato is going to be more firm, and it will take longer to cook as well. So if you add the purple potato, or you're making the potatoes larger and you're adding a zucchini or a soft squash, especially a zucchini, which contains a lot of water, you'll want to add the zucchini the last 7 minutes of cooking, so they're firm and they're not squishy. So you don't want to put the zucchini or the squash in there when you're adding everything else. You actually want to add it a little later in the cooking process. And like today, we put everything in. It was, no problem. Then our chocolate, delicious. And for the pork, really quickly, for that, we did a marinade, which is it's a capful of the apple cider vinegar, and then a tablespoon of the liquid aminos, Bragg's. That's going to help silken and you want to massage it. I actually had this marinating. I started the marinade at 6 this morning, and our class was later on. You can get away with an hour. Massage it in like a Swedish massage, nice and to give it that silkiness. But the longer you marinate in that, the better it will be. So it will silken it even more and get those juices, which is amazing. And of course, I did a refined olive oil, and in the notes you're going to see that the refined olive oil is a higher smoke point than unrefined olive oil. And actually, in all the oils, refined and unrefined, that's the difference. Refined is a higher cook point, or smoke point, excuse me, and the unrefined would be a lower cook point. So refined is higher, unrefined is lower. Then the dark chocolate, the reason why I use the 72% is the darker the chocolate, the better, less sugar that it has. Excuse me, some in my eye. And they had it, goodness. So, so remember in this process that you want to melt the chocolate and add a little, like a tablespoon of oil to that cup of chocolate to make it, a little silky. And add allspice while you're cooking the chocolate, like if you put it in the microwave and it has that dark coal, like you burnt it, take the coal out and then add a pinch of allspice to it. That's a woodsy note, and it will draw that smoke flavor out of the chocolate. It will save your dish. If you add too much sodium in soup, for instance, take potato, so basically you'll on this you'll want to peel the potato and cut it in quarters, put it in, and it will absorb the salt. Wherever water and potassium is, salt will go. So you'll want to do that if you put too much sodium in your dish. So with the Cajun soup, remember that you're going to put if you need the lemon at the end, if you smell the tomatoey, the earth, too much of an earth tone, that's when you add the lemon, and it's a couple of drops, stir it, let it mix in, and then smell it again. And you don't want the tomato to hit you in the face first. If you do, that's when you need to add the lemon. We did not add sodium. Instead, we add liquid aminos to it, which is a lower sodium. It is a soy, which will cut the fish flavor, and it will help cut the tomatoey flavor, but mainly the fish flavor. But also, that's what that green bell pepper was for. Green bell pepper is a bitter. I use it in gumbo, and I use it obviously in this dish. So in fish dishes like soups, I'll add a green bell pepper. Because it will balance the dish nicely because of that bitterness that it's providing, and it's a beautiful balance. It doesn't have a lot of that vitamin C in it, but what it does is it has the minerals that I need to balance out that dish. So I hope this was helpful with the after class notes that we learned, and have a great day. Thank you.